It. 10 years ago, Hurricane Katrina decimated the Gulf Coast. The storm caused the collapse of levees around New Orleans, resulting in 1,800 deaths, damage to 500,000 homes, and displacement of more than 1 million people. While most of the spotlight has been on New Orleans, Mississippi was also hit hard. Nonprofit groups have been helping to rebuild lives and homes in and around Biloxi. Katrina survivor Dung Nguyen enjoys spending time with his family. He's a fisherman of nearly 20 years, and he was stranded on his boat for nearly a week when Hurricane Katrina struck.
I wouldn't dare to think about what's going to happen the next day or 2 or 3 days from now, or what the future's going to be. It was just a matter of survival at the time.
When the storm settled, his boat and source of income had been wiped out.
It was extremely difficult to keep a level head about not knowing what's going to happen. Especially, I have a family to take care of. I can't even describe the feeling, the helplessness, the hopelessness.
86-year-old Charles Ronnie Fountain's boyhood home was also damaged by Katrina. He says he was displaced 5 times until FEMA gave him a trailer to live in for a year before moving back into his house. The Fuller Center Disaster Rebuilders has been helping people like Ronnie and Dung start all over. Since Katrina, the group has helped to rebuild some 100 homes. About 70 volunteers are in Biloxi, Mississippi this week, helping the Fuller Center as it marks the 10th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina.
And I just looked around East Biloxi and said, this place is a mess. We've got to get started cleaning it up.
And that's exactly what Bart Tucker of Fuller Center Disaster Rebuilders did.
On Sunday, the first Sunday after we were here, the church asked us to go to a working class neighborhood of East Biloxi to muck out a house. Well, once we saw that neighborhood, we said, there is more need here than we'll ever fulfill in the 3 weeks that we're going to be here. We're just going to stay and work in this house, in this neighborhood, work from house to house.
Other faith-based partners have also been helping residents in the region. Gary LeBlanc is president and founder of Mercy Chefs. A native of Louisiana, LeBlanc was personally affected by the storm.
You know, I spent 20 years in the business in New Orleans and vacationed on the Gulf Coast. I mean, there were people down here that I knew and loved that we couldn't get in touch with. I remember a night sleeping in a rent-a-car in a baseball stadium and waking up at 2 in the morning and hear people crying in the homes around us. They weren't hurt, they weren't afraid, but they were crying out of hopelessness. Something had to be done. I personally had to do something.
That something birthed Mercy Chefs. In the 10 years since the storm, Mercy Chefs has fed more than 1 million people in disasters all across the globe. Yet, helping Katrina survivors remains close to LeBlanc's heart, because 10 years after the storm, many of them still have no place to call home.
We came down, we fed people. It was wonderful, but there's still more that has to be done. That's why this week we're back feeding teams that are rebuilding homes.
Meanwhile, Ronnie says the support from faith organizations like Fuller and Mercy Chefs are doing more than just rebuilding structures. They're also helping to restore hope and faith.
I think it brought me a lot closer to my religion.
Meanwhile, the Fuller Center hopes to soon complete a new home for Dung Nguyen and his family.
Now I know I have a home that we can live in for a long time.